Person, woman, man, camera, TV. There's also a lot of speculation because of what they did, the severity of the FBI coming and raiding Mar-a-Lago. Were they looking for the Hillary Clinton emails that were deleted, but they are around someplace? In history, for any country, nobody's had crowds like I have. I have hundreds of thousands of people. This is a tough hurricane, one of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water. In June of 1775, the Continental Congress created a unified army out of the revolutionary forces encamped around Boston and New York, and named after the great George Washington, Commander-in-Chief. The Continental Army suffered a bitter winter of Valley Forge, found glory across the waters of the Delaware, and seized victory from Cornwallis of Yorktown. Our army manned the airport. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do. We want every American child to have access to pristine outdoor spaces. When young Americans experience the breathtaking beauty of the Grand Canyon, when their eyes widen in amazement as Old Faithful bursts into the sky, when they gaze upon Yosemite's towering sequoias. If you're the President of the United States, you can declassify just by saying it's declassified, even by thinking about it. Damn! I did everything right and they indicted me.
My question to you, sir, is what do you see as the major threats to the future of Michigan manufacturing, auto working jobs?
Okay, so I'll get into another little bit of a long answer, because when you say major threat, to me we have one really major threat. That's called nuclear weapons.
What are you talking about? The number one threat to manufacturing jobs is nuclear weapons? Okay, in that case, the number one threat to the New York Giants is nuclear weapons.
Ding, 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 ding. Boom. Missile launch. Pshing, boom. All appropriate departments of our government, from Homeland Security to Defense, are engaged fully in the disaster and the response and recovery effort. Probably has never been seen for something like this. This is an island surrounded by water. Big water, ocean water. They say a wall is medieval. Well, so is a wheel. A wheel is older than a wall. And I looked, and every single car out there, even the really expensive ones that the Secret Service uses, and believe me, they are expensive. I said, do they all have wheels? Yes. Oh, I thought it was medieval. The wheel is older tn the wall. You know that? The Mueller report, I wish, covered the oranges, how it started, the beginnings of the investigation. What? Supposing we hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light, and I think you said that hasn't been checked, but you're going to test it. And then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do either through the skin or in some other way. And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting. Right, and then I see the disinfectant, where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside, or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number of the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that. So that you're going to have to use medical doctors with. But it sounds interesting to me. China, I was probably the first one. I said it came from the lab in Wuhan. I knew that. But I said, and I've said right from the beginning, it was the lab in Wuhan. It got out. It got out of the lab. I think it was incompetence. I really believe it was incompetence. More, people said, I was charging China so much money in tariffs and taxes that a lot of people said they did it to get me out. China has total respect for Donald Trump and for Donald Trump's very, very large brain.
You serious?
trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing.
I'm an environmentalist. A lot of people don't understand that. And I think I know more about the environment than most people.
And then they kill all the whales, right? They kill all the whales out there, and then they say that for boat manufacturers, the boat can't go more than 2 miles an hour because we don't want to hurt the whales, even though there's only been one recorded incident of that in 50 years.
Yeah, this is awesome. I know, right?
But Arnold Palmer was all man. He took showers with the other pros. They came out of there, they said, oh my God, that's unbelievable.
We do not care.
And finally, no debate with the former president would be complete without addressing the former president's closing number of the Trump show's first term.
Mr. President, on January 6th, you told your supporters to march to the Capitol. You said you would be right there with them. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day?
It wasn't done by me. It was done by others. It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their jobs. I wasn't responsible for security. Nancy Pelosi was responsible. She didn't do her job. I had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech.
You spent 2 months riling up your base that our country had literally been stolen from them through fraudulent means, that you could never even get a whiff of in a court of law, and let yourself just abuse them. You pressed on. You abused their trust. You showed up for a speech. You fucking tweeted, join me on January 6th. It will be wild. But suddenly now, I was just a hired magician, did a bar mitzvah. I didn't do anything. I showed up with a hat and a rabbit, and then the whole party went out of control.